What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Alternative Factuals video. I am so glad to be back. I don't want to get into the nitty details of COVID and all that stuff, but essentially I'm pretty much a business owner and functioning as someone who is working for themselves because I'm so tired of the 9 to 5. It's ridiculous. So I wanted to focus on that and kind of get myself together and situated before I can come back to the channel and have some form of consistency. So just pretty much so y'all know, I'm probably going to be uploading twice a month just to keep things very, very simple and very light for myself to make sure that I can make this commitment. And then as things loosen up over time, obviously I will give you more content and I will branch out and do more things. But for now, let's just do twice a month, and be sure when you see those 2 videos a month, like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below and all that stuff. Blow up these videos. I want to see them circulate. I want to see them do well, not only just simply for my sake, but also to encourage other people, like I said, who are very much into comics, who are black and all that stuff, to kind of just congregate on this channel in the comments, all positive vibes and all that stuff. So I hope everyone is doing extremely well, and I hope everyone is having a great day. I hope everyone's happy. I hope everyone's healthy. And let's kind of just dive into today's video. So I want to talk about the importance of Moon Knight and the whole situation of finally getting Konshu, like a god, kind of coming into the situation, and what could it mean for characters like Black Panther. So even though I said a god, for example, and I know a lot of people are going to say like, oh, Thor is a god and so is Odin. Yeah, they are, but for people who are not like really super duper familiar with Marvel history when it comes to like Konshu and Bast and the relation between, like, let's say Thor and Odin, for example, well, a lot of them are relatively new gods compared to like Konshu and Bast, for example. They're much older than Odin, and they were not really wasn't really a thing, at least when they were first around, because some of these people were around when Gaia had first birthed the demigorge, which initially took out a lot of the gods in the first place, the original old gods, and then created some of the new gods like Bast and Konshu and all that stuff. And then the demigorge turned into this the Egyptian god of the sun and flew off into the sun, and every once in a while will make a return, and pretty much that's his purpose. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is the reason why it's important that we see Konshu is because Bast is related to Konshu. They are siblings. Now, we don't know what Bast is in terms of their sexuality. We don't know if like they're actually a male or female, because it has been shown inconsistently throughout comics that they can be either or, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but just something as a food for thought, for example. But one thing we do know about Bast, or Bastet, is basically it's their Bast is worshipped as like the god of Wakanda, and technically it's still worshipped in ancient Egypt. Now, according to Wakandan legend, when like these 5 tribes fought for the control of Wakanda, Basinga received a vision from Bast, which led him to the heart-shaped herb, granting him the power to become king and the first Black Panther, the avatar of Bast. Now this kind of his avatar form, or him being an avatar of Bast, is more relation to his bloodline, where Bast gave him the ability to eat the herb and kind of receive the power of Bast, and no one else who isn't of royal bloodline can do that. So that's more related to Bast specifically. But when it comes to Konshu, it's more or less whoever he selects or deems worthy to be his avatar. And it works the same way with like Sidorak or Chthon or whatever like that. They can kind of just give anyone their power, while Bast strictly sticks to people who he deems bloodline worthy. So that's one of the interesting things about Bast, more of a choice. But I say it's very interesting because now this means we can see Bast, and we can see how Bast has been influencing Wakanda, influencing the kings of Wakanda, and also the history and how Bast interfering with mankind has altered the trajectory of the African nation of Wakanda since Basinga first took the heart-shaped herb. And also, I'm pretty sure because of Moon Knight, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get some sort of backstory of Konshu, and we are getting like little hints and pieces that we don't know if it's fact or fiction, but they are basically explaining how Konshu is very manipulative, which we are seeing within the first 2 episodes alone. And I think by the time this video goes up, the 3rd episode will probably be out already. But ultimately, we're seeing that Konshu is very manipulative, and obviously is always out for his own purpose, or has his own intentions. But what's interesting too is that no one really deems him as good or evil. He just is. He just does things that suit his purpose to gain more power, or maybe he doesn't want any power at all. It all depends on the story, as like I said, depends on his mood, for example. But Bast is very much different, at least how we're perceived. Bast can interfere, I guess, in some regards, but consistently has. You know, they've given the nation of Wakanda a Black Panther, a king, someone who is strong, you know, very intelligent. The technological advancement of Wakanda has been exponentially expedited due to the fact that Bast has given them, you know, access to the heart-shaped herb and, you know, the access to the knowledge regarding vibranium and how to work with it. Like, it's been consistently proven that Bast is a little bit more, I guess, human friendly, but also too, that might change as we get to know Konshu a little bit more and how those gods kind of function and operate in their regards to how they interact with mankind. But nonetheless, this is an exciting point because one, we do know the other Black Panther, the second Black Panther, even though Chadwick Boseman did pass away, I believe they're in production or kind of wrapping up, but we're getting to a point where we're going to see that movie, and because of Moon Knight, we might get more details about Bast, you know, herself. You know, I guess in most cases it's depicted that, you know, Bast is a woman, but you know, in this case, we'll get more of like how Bast is, or how Bast kind of influenced Wakanda, the importance of Bast, why people believe in Bast, or maybe at some point down the line, people are going to start questioning Bast, which naturally happens when it comes to these enigmatic figures and these, I would say, supernatural forces as well. People question them because not everyone gets to experience the presence of Bast. So a lot of this stuff is going to start to get answered as we kind of go along through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because even though the past 10 years we've dealt with, you know, the Infinity Stones, which were extremely powerful artifacts that have existed since the beginning of the MCU universe itself, there are other forces that are in the Marvel universe that are equally as powerful or more powerful, that are magic based. And I think we're transitioning into a point in the Marvel universe where a lot of the movies and a lot of what's going on can be seen as supernatural, mystical, where even Spider-Man with the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, them being there was more of a mystical aspect. Even to some level, you could make, I guess, a similar argument for Loki, even though that was more just them exploring the fact that the multiverse was already fracturing and it was kind of like a side effect of the Infinity Stones. But I won't include that for the sake of this one. We do have, like I said, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. We do have, you know, Moon Knight, and then we're going to get Black Panther. A lot of the stuff going forward, I feel like it's going to have either a very magic based story or somehow be tied into some sort of supernatural magical aspect in some way, shape, or form. Maybe that'll be the next way out of the situation, because I know the MCU was kind of sort of hinting at time travel halfway through, you know, from like phase like 3 and 4 and all that stuff. So that's one thing, but I think they're going to probably either use magic as a solution for the next big event, or magic could be a part of the problem. But nonetheless, let me know what you think down below. Like, how have you been enjoying Moon Knight? The concept of Konshu and that Bast is pretty much his sibling, and they can introduce Bast at any point, and we can actually see and kind of understand how Bast functions and operates as he works through the earthly plane through Black Panthers. Let me know, and I hope to see y'all later on. Peace out.